everyone, hope you're all okay. This video, it's gonna be about my depression. Hey ho, happy days. I have done a couple of videos on it at the very beginning of me being on YouTube. I didn't have any subscribers then yet, and I thought maybe for my first video it was a bit miserable and no one would want to watch it. But in my last video I just did about my first week at Weight Watchers, I mentioned that I'm back on my antidepressants, and the amount of messages I got and replies, and they were all so encouraging, and I really appreciate it. It was wonderful, you know, you all so caring and supportive. I really felt the love, so thank you so much for it. And by that I also found out that there is a lot of you out there that suffering, some in silence, some not. So I thought I'd talk about it a bit, and if it helps one person, that's great. You know, I think sharing is really good. I'm very open and I don't mind talking about it. I don't think there is so much stigma attached to depression anymore. It used to be. So I have been suffering with depression on and off for 13 years. First time I got depressed was after I had my son, so I had the postnatal depression. Awful dark time for me, because when it happens to you for the first time, you don't recognize the signs. I was first time mother, you know, you hear about the baby blues and you think that that's how you're supposed to feel. It was my husband that recognized it, and I think it was the day when I woke up in the morning, I heard my baby cry, and I thought, I wish I was still asleep. I don't want to be awake. And my husband brought a little beautiful boy into our bed, and I turned my back on him. And then you feel so guilty for feeling like this. It's just awful conflicting emotions, because at the same time, you know, I would sometimes sit there and think, do you know what, if something happened to you, I probably wouldn't even care. Then you cry for thinking like that because it's your little baby, and it's just awful, because at the same time I couldn't stand anybody else touching him, feeding him, doing anything for him. So I wanted to do everything for him, but I don't know how to explain it. It's just so hard to explain, and you feel so alone. You know, all these health visitors come to your house saying, oh, you should go and join mother and toddler group and talk to other women. I could barely get out of bed, let alone wanting to see other people. Maybe it would help, maybe not, but there was no way on earth that I could go and sit with other people and other screaming babies. That was another thing. I could not stand the crying. I wanted to pull my hair out. But that was awful time, and I think it took me about 6 months before I went to the doctor and got the first tablet, and after a while I started feeling better, like I could cope with things. I still found it very hard. And I think then I came off those after about 8 months with my postnatal depression. Also, I should mention that I was always a heavy smoker, and I have given up smoking a few times in my life, and every time I gave up smoking I would get depressed. I would put weight on, and I would feel just so miserable that I would start smoking again, and I felt absolutely fine. So it was like a pattern emerging. I would give up smoking, put weight on, get depressed, go to the doctor, get the tablets, take them for a bit, still fat, start smoking, lose weight, stop taking tablets, smoke, 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 decide to give up smoking, get fat, get depressed, stop taking antidepressants, start smoking, feel fine. I've done it probably 3 or 4 times in my life. So as you know, this time I've given up for the longest time ever, and I think I'm done now. It's been 1.5 years now, but of course that's what happened this time. So when I went back to my doctor, one said to me, "Oh, it's a smoking cessation, something like that, depression, which means that because I've taken the drug away, my brain, is fighting me, and that's why I've got depressed." So he gave me antidepressants, citalopram, and it was about summertime. So he said, "I will keep you on them over Christmas because it's a stressful time, and then we start weaning you off of it." Anyway, when I've run out, because you have to go every 2 months for like a checkup, and then they give you the next lot of tablets. When I went for my next checkup, I couldn't see the same doctor. I saw a different one who actually looked after me for quite a long time. And she said to me something totally different. That's the thing, even the doctors can't agree on it. She said to me, "I don't think this depression is anything to do with you giving up smoking. I think you've always been depressed, but smoking masked it." And I kind of understood that, and I sort of thought, yeah, that's probably it, because if you look at the patterns, that's what was happening. And I was smoking so much, which meant that maybe I was depressed, and each cigarette was giving me a bit of high, so it was making me feel happier. I smoked an awful lot. I smoked at least 30 cigarettes a day, and if I had a function on that night, I probably smoke even more. So I sort of agreed with that, and that's when she said to me, "I am going to leave you on those antidepressants for a bit longer." But then, about 6 months after that, when I went back to her, she suddenly decided that I should come off of them, that I should be fine now. So that's what I did. I took about 2 months to wean myself off of them, and I'm back on them. And the thing is, I recognize the signs now, because it's happened to me so many times, and I'm so glad, because I can take action much quicker, whereas before it would take me a long time, so I would be so down that it took much longer to come out of it. So my first sign would be being irritable, terribly irritable with everyone, and sensitive. Something that would not normally annoy you drives you absolutely mad. And that's how I know you suffer, but the people around you suffer as well, because I was horrible to my husband, horrible to my son, just constantly shouting, being annoyed with everybody, because you almost want to just be left alone on your own and don't see and talk to anyone. So that would be the first sign. Next sign, it was impulsive shopping. And that is, I think, because you're looking for anything to give you that good feeling kick, I suppose, like what you get after you exercise. That's why exercise is called a natural antidepressant, because it releases endorphins, the good feel hormone, which also is being released during sex. So is that, or shopping, or exercising? So yes, I start shopping a lot because it gives me that high, makes me happy for half an hour or a day. So that's the next sign. Then comes the crying. The crying it can be, well, it's not funny at all, but it's strange. What happened to me a couple of weeks ago, my husband came back from work, and I proceeded to tell him what a lovely dinner I've cooked, and then I just burst out crying. It's just this sad feeling comes over you. There's no reason to it at all. You don't know why, you just want to cry. And my husband laughed, and he's very good. He we're very open, and he knows when I'm feeling like this. But he actually laughed and said, "I'm sorry, darling. I know it's not funny, but it is, because you're telling me how lovely the dinner is that you've cooked, and then you're crying about it." So yeah, the crying, that's the next sign. And after that comes the headache. The headache is I have it now right this minute. Headache and a neck ache is this. It's a tension ache, because when you stress, when you stress and people say, "Oh, you are so tight here," and that's what happens. So you all tight, and I sometimes feel even my jaw tightens, and I don't know how to explain it. But headache tablets, nothing helps. So it's awful because it's constant ache. I have it right now, and last time it took a long time for it to go. So these are the signs, and when I start crying and get the headache, I know that's it, that's me done. I probably will have to do this video in 2 parts, because I don't know, for some reason YouTube won't let me upload videos longer than 15 minutes, and there is so much to say. So I will do probably 2 parts. Yes, so because I had some tablets left, I have probably a month and a bit left, I've decided, I said to my husband, I said, I'm not going back where I was before. I am naturally very upbeat person, very outgoing person, and I hate feeling like I did. So that's another thing, people can't believe when I say that I'm depressed and I'm on antidepressants. They say, "How can you be always so happy?" and this and that. Well, unfortunately, depression does not discriminate, and it can happen to anyone, and there is no reason for it. Like people, "Oh, what have you got to be depressed about? There are people dying and all this," and that's the worst thing people can say to you. We know all that, and you don't need to make us feel even worse about it. That we know there are people that have worse lives than us, but that's the thing. We're not depressed because of something. We're just depressed. You can't put it's not like being sad. People often say, "Oh, I'm depressed," just because you feel sad about something at that moment. Depression is totally different. You feel like this all the time. You don't have bad and good days. They're just all bad. And there is no reason to it. So the popular belief is that we depressed people have some sort of chemical imbalance in our brain, and that's what causes the depression. Well, I've read this fantastic article created by Mark Tyrrell, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, and Roger Elliott, Depression Learning Path, and I will put the website, and please read it because it's amazing. My time is running out, so I will tell you in a part 2 about this article and how it helped me. So see you in a part 2.